What's up everybody? It's your boy the Kryptonian saying, bringing you a review for One Piece chapter 135. And gotta start here. I love the fact that Wapol shows back up. I love that, and the reason why I love it is it once again raises the stakes. You know, this chapter, the stakes are already high because Sanji and Luffy, they're being attacked by those gorilla rabbits. You know, I'm gonna call them gorilla rabbits because Sanji called them gorillas at first, and then Luffy was like, "Oh, they're polar bears," and Sanji's like, "No, they're rabbits." I just love like the back and forth. I think at some point it's just like, because Sanji called them by the real names, okay? But I think at some point when you're around Luffy, at some point your brain gets stuck on stupid, and it just takes you a moment to get out of gear. It's kind of like how I'm driving and I'll be going from second to third gear, right? And then I might have to fuck around, put the car right back in neutral because somebody pops the brakes, or I got to coast towards the light or something like that because the light changes on me. So I just like that because Sanji's brain was stuck on stupid, but he quickly gets back into gear because he has to tell Luffy, look, let me handle these things. If you start fighting and you mix it up with them, you're going to make Nami, you're gonna kill her. And that was a very real possibility because there's this one scene where Sanji has to grab Luffy by the leg and remind his ass, because Luffy, it's muscle memory. Luffy was about to start fighting, and look at Nami, like, she's fucked up. She's fucked up. And the thing about it, what I love about that scene is it was absolutely needed for Luffy's character development. And what I mean by that is this right here. Luffy, I don't think Luffy completely trusts his crew. I think he trusts them when he gets into a bind. Like, there's been situations where Zoro's kind of saved him. He knew Sanji was going to work him out. But like when it comes to fighting, like, I don't know if it's because of it's the fighting spirit, but the thing is you have to learn that as a leader, you can't do everything by yourself. You have to kind of delegate stuff. You have to be able to prioritize. And there's still things as far as being a leader that Luffy is working on. So I thought this was needed. To let Sanji call the shots, to trust Sanji to handle the fighting. Luffy's main priority should be looking out for Nami, and that's the beautiful thing about this chapter is Luffy and Sanji weren't on screen for very long, but their impact was very profound. And I just, oh man, I love that because I don't really care for Luffy's character. He's fun to read, you know. I'm not going to say he's not fun to read, but I really don't care for his character too much. But I like seeing just the few instances where Oda helps him grow up a little bit. I thought this was very needed because at some point this is all going to be sinking in on Luffy because Vivi told him in a few chapters ago, I think it was on Wednesday's chapter, that if you keep acting like this, you're going to get your crew killed. You can't be selfish. You got to swallow your pride. I'm paraphrasing what she said. And then in this chapter, you know, Sanji has to tell him, like, the safety of your crew has to come first. And I'm paraphrasing. So I thought this was really good. The other thing is I really enjoyed this part right here, how Dalton rides off. And Dalton is a man on a mission. Like, look at that face. Dalton is a man on a mission, dude. Like, I like that. And I want to see if Dalton can actually throw down because he's got a really big, you know, body on him. And now if he faces Wapol, I get a really good idea for how powerful he is because Luffy one-shotted the dude. He one-shotted him. And I know the thing with a lot of this is Luffy might just be, I can't call him broken because it's too early in the story, but I would say compared to Wapol, he's probably broken. So it's kind of like having current version Kenpachi Zaraki take on early version Ichigo Kurosaki, who just unlocked his Zanpakuto when Rukia gave it to him. At that point, I wouldn't say that. I'd say Ichigo going into the Soul Society, okay? Like, he would get stomped. He would get raped, okay? But it's not to say that, you know, Ichigo is a bad fighter or weak or anything just compared to his competition. I think that's what the case was with Wapol. So I'm actually okay with that. But now I get a chance to see where he stands. Because, Dalton looks like he's stronger than the average human. And, speaking of Wapol, the reason why I like, him coming back in this chapter is because after the guards are killed, he finds out that the Mary is there. And he's like, just kill those damn Straw Hats. Just kill them. And they find out that nobody's there. And he figures out where they're going because of Chess, one of his assistants. I thought that was cool. One of his shipmates. So I thought that bit was really nice. And one of the things on it, like the way that Oda is doing this, he's having, I don't want to say the rope. I'll say this. He's having the walls kind of close in on Luffy and the crew because Smoker is coming. You got Wapol kind of tracking down. Buggy is out there somewhere. Buggy was giving chase. Like, and Sir Crocodile's people are coming after him. Like, everything is just coming in, and you can just feel the heat just rising on Luffy and the others. And it's small things. Because I think at this point in the story, if you're just experiencing it like I am as it's going through, it's really easy to forget that Luffy has all these other people after him. All these other people. And at some point, it's gonna boil to the surface. It's like when you're cooking rice and everything, and you put the water in there and you put the top, the steam is just gonna start going, but at a certain point, that like the water is gonna run out. And I feel like this is the case with Luffy. At a certain point, Luffy's gonna be in over his head, and how he responds to that going forward, that is going to be key, because he's learning that he might be the strongest person on his crew, and he knows he's not the smartest. But every decision he makes because he's captain, it's gonna determine it's gonna determine the fate of his crew. And I think that Zoro, maybe it's because he's a bounty hunter and he's got that sixth sense, but Zoro, I really feel like the reason why he's training right now and going to these extremes, it isn't so much because he's trying to push himself and to be the greatest swordsman, right? I think that he knows that sooner or later, more likely sooner, their luck's gonna run out, and he has to be prepared, and he has to be as strong as Luffy or close enough to it in order to help them. It's kind of like a sixth sense. Like, it's like that an axe is hanging over your head, and that, okay, I gotta get my shit together. Like, it's like that. So I like that the check engine light is on for him. I guess that's the best way to put it. You start driving and the check engine light comes on, and it's like, you need to get that checked out. You need to take some steps to fix whatever it is. And so I think that this is key. So I'm really interested to see where this next chapter is going. My chapter question for you guys is going to be, what were your thoughts when you saw Wapol return back to Drum Island? What were your thoughts on it? But man, that's it for this review. If you liked anything I had to say, hit that like button, subscribe, share. Matter of fact, before you do any of that, I'm going to give you a second chapter question. My second chapter question is going to be, when you read this, did you think that the witch doctor, did you think that Nami was going to run into her at like her home, like that castle all the way up top? Or did you think that Dalton and the rest would be able to find her beforehand? What were your thoughts when you got to this point in the manga or the anime? But that's it. Thanks for watching, you guys. Have an awesome day.